We are live again.
Hello.
Hi, guys. This is Owen and Lindsay, and we're here today to talk to our champion of the month or 2 months, Owen, who has a great story to share. And we also are here with Lindsay Goulet, who's the Community Development Manager for the Stigma-Free Society. I have quite a number of questions, but just first and foremost, Lindsay, can you please just introduce yourself? And Owen, could you do the same? And how you're connected with Stigma-Free and why you're here today?
Sure. Want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Lindsay. I'm Owens Mom. And I'm obviously also the Community Development Manager for Stigma-Free Society. And we got involved in this society through our own fundraiser that we did when Owen was diagnosed with his illnesses. We decided that we needed to do a little mental health advocacy for child mental health. And as we were doing that, pushing for awareness campaign, we were looking for different charities that we wanted to donate, and Stigma-Free was one of them. So I get to be his support warrior. And that just means I get to stand beside him and fight with him and strategize and learn and educate and go through the path of diagnosis and managing illness and being his mom. So you go.
I'm Owen.
You're a little more. How old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
No, you're not.
Oh, I'm 11.
He had a birthday.
I'm sorry, I said you were 10 years old.
When he was diagnosed and when we started, he was 10, but now you're 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you want to talk about your diagnosis?
Yeah, that's the first question, Lindsay. That's perfect. So,
Right.
why don't you guys like together just share a little bit about your story? What is Owen's diagnosis? How old was he when he was diagnosed? What was that like for you?
Weird, because I didn't even know I had anxiety because nobody told me till like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's hard to know these things sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were told in grade 2 that he seemed to have some anxious tendencies by a teacher. And so I'm so grateful for our school system and our teachers who are on top of that stuff. So he started seeing the school counselor in grade 2, and he saw school counselors right up until grade 5. We tried to get him into the health unit and whatnot. The system is so overrun and has so many demands, so it's tricky to get in that system and navigate through. So we were constantly just at the school counselor trying to learn strategies to help him with his anxiety.
And they didn't work.
They didn't work. And so in grade 5, how many panic attacks did you have a week, would you say?
5.
About 5 panic attacks a week. And how long did they last?
2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours. So he was in panic, what does it look like for you, a panic attack?
Crying and screaming.
Crying and screaming, and really like a physical attack. You would feel hot,
Yeah.
He would feel nauseous, he would be shaky, he'd be crying. So he had to go through that 2 to 3 hours per attack, 5 days a week in grade 5. So that was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough. And then he started having what he called
Sad days.
Sad days. And that would be him coming down, and he just wouldn't look like himself. It looked like he had, I call it his depression mask. So it looked like he had a mask over his face. It didn't look like my boy. And so, but then there would be an instant in the day where I could see a shift, and he would take a big breath and it would be gone. So at that point, we knew that it was a chemical issue. This wasn't something we could strategize out of. So once he had his sad days, we were able to get in a lot quicker through the system to get his diagnosis. And he was diagnosed with 4 different mental illnesses. You want to list them, or you want me to?
I have no idea what they are.
He just lives it. I get to know all the stats.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed with panic disorder, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, right? Yes,
Right.
Mom.
Yeah, okay.
Social anxiety
Okay.
and depression. So we started medication and we started weekly counseling, and we're here strong.
Monthly counseling.
It was weekly for a while, and then we're now like every other month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our story.
Aw, wow. And Owen, tell me a little bit about hockey. Like, I know you're a hockey player, and you do some advocacy with an organization. And I'm just really interested. Like, did you have panic attacks when you were on the ice? Like, what was that like for you?
Sometimes panic attacks in the dressing room, and I tried to get on the ice, and I was on the ice. Sometimes I would have a panic attack on the ice, but usually when I'm on the ice, I'm on the ice.
Yeah, no doubt.
Before that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard from your mom that you push through and you want to play your hockey, and I just really admire you for garnering that strength in your heart to push on, and I think that's absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. So, Owen, I'd really like to focus on you. I love talking to you. I love talking to you too, Lindsay, but he's just so awesome.
No, he's awesome. I just get to be his champion.
Yeah, well, you're the warrior, right? You call your son Owen the warrior, and Lindsay, you're the support warrior.
Yes.
You guys have these T-shirts that are green for mental health, and I've seen them, and I really admire everything that you guys do. It's awesome. So I'm really curious, Owen, because I don't get to talk to young people as young as yourself a lot of the times, even though these are the people we're serving, giving education presentations in schools. We don't really have a lot of close contact to have conversations one-on-one. And I was just curious, what was it like for you when you got these diagnoses and the doctor was like, oh, you have this, and like, how'd that feel?
It was kind of strange, like a mix between sadness and anger because I was mad, why me, and sadness because I have it.
Yeah, I totally understand. When I was first diagnosed, I was pretty sad about it. But then, do you feel like I came to a place of like acceptance with it? Do you feel you're getting there, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time sometimes too, right? Oh, so COVID-19, and you have this anxiety already. So how have you been handling COVID-19? Like, how have you been feeling with your mental health?
It's the best time in my life right now.
Why?
Why?
Because I don't really have to do anything, so there's not much panic.
Yeah. So it's like you get some time to relax and calm and be around people you love. So it's working for you, right?
Yeah.
All right.
He's living his best life right now. He's home with his dog all day.
Yeah.
He's sleeping every day. He gets to go. Yeah. It's kind of a nice, like, he gets a break right now where he's had such a push for so many years of battling, and now with COVID, like, this is his best life.
Totally understand. I think I know some introverts, not me, who have said they feel like they like COVID because they to stay home and there's that less stress to go out. And so, for some people deal well with it, but others, do suffer with depression, anxiety really intensely, and other mental illnesses are exacerbated. So yeah, it's different for everybody, isn't it? Lindsay, what have you noticed about Owen during COVID-19? Anything further? Is he calmer? Like, what's your perception?
Yeah, he's definitely calmer. There's very little panic in him. I have seen him, I don't know, when you have your kids home 24/7, you really learn a lot about them. And even just them going to school for school, their online schooling I just make them go for the 2 hours a day. I still get to watch them grow and learn. And I've learned a lot about my own kids these last few months, just about their willingness to do the work without a lot of guidance. I don't have to be there harping on them. I trust them. So I've garnered a lot of trust of them over the last few months. I've also learned that they're really funny and they're really silly, and it's all day long. And with his panic and with his anxiety, there's moments where I call them dancy feet. So when he gets a little anxious, he gets dancy feet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or his tongue starts moving sides. So those are all signs to me that he's in a space. And so it's interesting to watch him kind of move through the illness and learn more about it. Cause now I can just be like, hey man, what's with the dancy feet? And he's like, I don't even know. I'm not even sure. He still has like moments of this anxiety that we can't really, it could be something so small that's stressing him out and he'll get dancy feet, but now he's able to acknowledge it and kind of move through it a lot quicker than what we've moved through. So yeah. I think his body needed a rest. His mind needed a rest. COVID has given us that. And, if we have to look at being grateful for something like a pandemic, then, the rest for my child is awesome, amazing. And
awesome.
He's so fun and he's so neat. And just to watch him over the last few months has just been.
Well, I know that. I've only met him a couple of times, but I totally can see that for sure. I'm your biggest fan. I am.
No, I'm his biggest fan.
Okay. Yes.
I win.
Yes. All right. So another question for you, Owen. You've said in the past, like you and your mom are very much a team. What does that mean to you and how does she help you?
Well, she helps me in a lot of ways. Sometimes it's just trying to calm me down, and sometimes it's just being there and stuff and supporting me like the support warrior.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And can you tell me about Buddy Check?
Buddy Check.
What's one of your favorite organizations?
Take two.
Yeah.
Buddy Check is an organization that helps youth with childhood mental illness with hockey. So pretty much they've raised money to get teams in, like your bags.
No, you're doing great.
No.
You are.
So they pretty much raise money to go to teams and talk about childhood mental illness and health. And the green tape symbolizes mental health. So there's a Buddy Check weekend where they get like a big package of like green tape, coach notes, posters and stuff like that. Oh. And then the coach gives a big speech to the team, kind of talking and explaining it.
That is awesome. I know of their organization, and I really like around the hockey sticks, that green tape, right, which is symbolic of mental health awareness. And I believe the message is to share your struggles, isn't it? Is that what the whole message is behind Buddy Check?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that you're not alone, and that even if you're not diagnosed with a mental illness, that being a good teammate means reaching out to somebody, even if it looks like if they're having a bad day, what does it mean to be a good human? And that's what the coaching is really about, is how do you be a good teammate and support those. And it also addresses mental health issues, and we can't judge somebody on the cover. They could look happy-go-lucky and be having a really hard day. So it's about checking in. It's about buddy checking.
And I think that we should apply that to our whole world, right? And I love that.
Totally, right?
Yeah, it's just, and I believe as well, Stigma-Free, we obviously too like embrace that whole idea, that concept, which should be put in action all the time. Check in with people. Sometimes the most silent and those who appear to be okay really need help and someone to talk to. Okay, so Lindsay, what advice do you have for parents who believe their child may have a mental illness or have a child that's diagnosed with one?
I have two kind of solid pieces of advice. Number one is advocate all day, every hour, every minute as you're going through the system. The squeaky wheel does get the grease in this case. So you have to be strong and forthright and demanding in order to get the help that you need and a diagnosis if that's what needs to happen, or just get onto a path of helping your child learn about mental health and to take care of themselves. So advocate as hard as you can, as much as you can, until you're satisfied that your child is getting the help they need. For parents that have a child with mental illness, I think it's the most important thing to understand that they don't choose it. They're not choosing to have a panic. They're not choosing to throw their shoe across the dressing room. They're not choosing to feel sad. So we have to take a step back from our own impatience and take a breath and just be in the moment with them. So I think it gets real hard as a parent because sometimes you just want to shake them out of it, but you can't. It's not how it works. And so if we can take a breath and be patient and work with them through whatever they're going through, they're going to feel supported and loved and heard and hopefully come through on the other side a lot stronger and healthier and with strategies in place.
Awesome. But there's that whole thing around how do you know your child has a mental illness or something? Because like a lot of parents I talk to say, well, maybe it's just teenage behavior, right? And so when do you have any advice? I know it's a tough question, but do you have advice on that whole scenario?
I was thinking, like, if your child changes behavior at some point, if they start doing something different than they've never done before, even as they grow up, we know that their hormones take place and all of that, but you're going to know if that behavior doesn't feel right to you. We all know what growing up feels like. And so if something tweaks you in one way or the other, the best thing you can do is have an open conversation with your child to say, hey, I noticed that this is starting to happen. Do you know why? Do you want to talk to somebody? Do you need some help to get through it? Do you want me to just leave you alone for a bit? But parents know gut instinct wise if something is not quite right, or somebody can kind of point something out to you and then the gut instinct kind of happens and you're like, oh yeah, that might be something I want to look at. So it's a tough one. And I'm not saying every child has a mental illness and every child needs counseling. But I think on a gut level, if something feels a little off with your kid, then you start trying to find some answers, if only to help them through whatever phase they're going through. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a toughie.
So Owen, you must see some professionals. What do you think of them? Is that helpful for you?
Yeah, counseling is really helpful.
Nice. And how so? What has it done for you?
Well, they give you strategies and ways to try and get through it. And then they try, even early memories, they try and find the anxiety in those and get rid of it. So
he did EMDR.
So that's me.
Our counselor took him back to where his anxiety, we could kind of pinpoint like a moment where he started becoming anxious. And so then with EMDR, they take you back to that moment and they try to replace the thought process as the physical reaction that you have to a more calm place. So it's just kind of going through each anxiety file and replacing those anxious tendencies with new, calmer, you're safe type of talk, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
He doesn't like it.
No.
Every time he has an EMDR session, he's like, it's not fun.
Time.
He's exhausted. Yeah, nap time. He's exhausted after. EMDR is really tough. Counseling is tough work. And I've always said, I don't know anybody that's as strong as my son, because I will sometimes go in after a counseling session and he will look destroyed. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, we know that has to happen for him to get better and grow and get through it. But those moments are heart-wrenching, and I would do anything to take them away from him, but he's doing the work, and he's so strong, and he constantly does it. He doesn't like it. He likes his counselor now, but EMDR sessions are tough. But
wow. Owen, you are so strong. Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to close up in a couple of minutes, but I still want to hear some words from you guys. Owen, do you just have like a message for other kids out there? People are getting diagnosed all the time with mental illness. I always say 1 in 4. Other sources like Canadian Mental Health Association say 1 in 5. But really, it's 1 in 1 when you think about being affected with mental illness, because we always often will know somebody, don't we? Like a family member, a friend. We often always know somebody who is diagnosed or struggling. So it's really important to talk about it. And thanks for your advocacy. And I was just curious, do you have a message for other people out there who may be struggling right now?
You're not alone. That's pretty much my message.
I love that.
And
And Lindsay, did you have a message for parents out there who are going through some tough times? And I also, to add to that, how do you take care of yourself? And maybe that's something that parents need to know.
Message to parents is just stay strong. You're fighting beside your child, so they need your strength. And if you can find your own support warriors, so he's the warrior, I'm a support warrior, but I also have a team of support warriors for all of us.
Sunny,
Sunny, his dog, and you know, my husband will come home from a panic at the hockey rink, and he'll know I need to go upstairs and have a great shower cry and take a breath, and he needs to rest. And so just having people understand what you're going through and what you need. For me, it's just kindness and compassion is all I really truly need as we kind of go through this. Things are better now than when we were pre-diagnosis and just post. And but it's the support and the understanding and the compassion and the kindness. It takes you from a place of just upheaval and sadness and grief to a place of feeling supported and loved and honored. And it's so important.
Wow. You guys are a great team. You inspire me. I'm so happy you're both part of our family at the Stigma-Free Society. Thank you. I'm going to close off in just 1 minute after I say you're inspired by Owen's story. These are the kind of children that we're helping every day, educating young people in schools. And Owen, you gave us some money because you love our school program, you said, and you thought it was really cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. Whatever you want to donate, people, we're looking for 1,000 supporters, $20. I keep saying 25 and messing it up, or even more.
25 is good too.
What's that?
25 is good too.
Yeah, it's all good. So any amount you would like and can afford, right? Because we're all at different, points in our lives and stuff. And even if you just write a comment and say hello, that would be deeply appreciated as well. All right. Well, thank you, Lindsay and Owen. I'm going to close off now and then to say our next scheduled event is with Lindsay Goulet. Yeah, and then you're going to be talking about the new parent resource directly on Facebook Live. This is a new upcoming toolkit resource. I'm very excited for this resource and to learn even more about it with Lindsay. So thank you, everybody, and we'll be back on in 3 to 5 minutes. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.